walking on eggshells, constantly trying to please them, only to realize you've completely lost yourself in the process? That was my life with Sarah. For 10 years I thought I was building a future with the love of my life. I was wrong. I was just a pawn in her game of control. Our story started like a fairy tale. We met in college, young and full of dreams. I was drawn to her confidence, her ambition. She knew what she wanted and wasn't afraid to go after it. I admired that. I thought her decisiveness would be our strength, a guiding force for our family. In the beginning, it felt like teamwork. I'd handle the day-to-day, making sure our home was a sanctuary, while she climbed the corporate ladder. I was proud of her success. I celebrated every promotion, every bonus, thinking it was a win for both of us. But slowly, things started to change. Her guidance turned into commands. My opinions were no longer considered. They were dismissed. "Mark, don't be silly, this is the better way," she'd say, waving her hand as if swatting away a fly. It started with small things, like what I wore or the friends I saw. She'd critique my choices, always with a smile, making it seem like she was just trying to help me be my best self. "That shirt doesn't project success." Or, "Don't you think your friend Mike is a bit of a bad influence?" I went along with it. I loved her, and I thought happy couples compromised. I started dressing differently, seeing my friends less. I told myself it was for our future. Her career was demanding, and she needed a supportive partner. I took on more at home, cooking, cleaning, managing our finances, all under her strict supervision, of course. Every receipt had to be accounted for, every meal planned according to her preferences. Our home, once our shared sanctuary, started to feel more like her office, and I was just an employee. The isolation crept in so slowly I barely noticed it. My world shrank until it was just me and Sarah. My family would call, and I'd have to check with her before making plans. Most of the time, the answer was no. "We're too busy," or "I need you here this weekend." My own hobbies faded away. My workshop in the garage gathered dust. The guitar I used to love playing sat in its case, a silent reminder of a person I used to be. I tried to talk to her about it. I remember one evening, I gently brought up how I was feeling, how I missed my friends, how I felt disconnected. She turned it around on me instantly. She accused me of not being supportive, of not appreciating the sacrifices she was making for us. She said I was being selfish, that her high-pressure job required a stable home life, and I was threatening to disrupt it. Tears welled up in her eyes. And just like that, I was the bad guy. I found myself apologizing, comforting her, and promising to be better. It was a masterclass in manipulation, and I fell for it every single time. The real turning point wasn't a big, dramatic fight. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon. Sarah was on a business trip, a frequent occurrence. I was tidying up our home office when I saw her laptop was still on, connected to the family cloud account. An alert popped up. New photos synced from Sarah's iPhone. Curiosity got the better of me. I told myself I was just checking for work documents she might have forgotten. But my heart knew. It was a gut feeling I had been ignoring for months. I clicked on the folder. It wasn't spreadsheets or presentations. It was photos. Photos of Sarah, not in a conference room, but on a beach. She was laughing, her head resting on another man's shoulder. They were holding hands, kissing, looking at each other with an intimacy that we hadn't shared in years. There were dozens of pictures from different business trips. Paris, Rome, a tropical resort. My world didn't just crack, it shattered. The woman I had dedicated my life to, the woman for whom I had sacrificed my own identity, was living a completely different life behind my back. The strange thing was, I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel that explosive anger you see in movies. I felt a profound, chilling sense of calm. It was the calm of clarity. Suddenly everything made sense. The control, the isolation, the constant criticism. It wasn't about building a life together. It was about keeping me in a neat little box so she could live her real life without interference. I wasn't her partner. I was her alibi. Her convenient, compliant, stay-at-home husband who kept the facade of a perfect marriage intact. In that moment, 10 years of suppressed feelings, of walking on eggshells, just evaporated. The fear of her disapproval vanished. I looked around the house. Her house, I now realized. Everything was chosen by her, arranged by her. There was nothing of me left here. For the first time in a decade, I wasn't thinking about what Sarah would want. I was thinking about what I wanted. And what I wanted was to be free. I didn't pack a big suitcase. I took a single backpack. I packed my old faded t-shirts that she hated. I packed the worn-out jeans she always wanted to throw away. I took my dusty guitar out of its case. I walked over to my desk and wrote a simple, 2-sentence note. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just stated a fact. When Sarah came home a few days later, she found the house exactly as I'd left it, pristine and orderly, just how she liked it. But my car was gone, my clothes were gone, and on the perfectly polished kitchen island was the note. It read, "I know everything. I hope you find the control you're looking for, because you've lost your control over me. Goodbye." Her reaction was exactly what I expected. A flurry of frantic texts and calls. First, demanding to know where I was. Then, angry accusations. Then, desperate pleas and declarations of love. But this time, her words had no power. I didn't answer. I just blocked her number. I didn't need a fight. I didn't need closure from her. I had already given it to myself. Leaving was the hardest and easiest thing I've ever done. The first few weeks were a blur. I stayed with my old friend Mike, the one Sarah had called a bad influence. He didn't ask too many questions. He just handed me a beer, put on some music, and said, "Welcome back, man." It was that simple. I reconnected with my family, who were overjoyed to have me back in their lives. I started playing my guitar again, the calluses slowly returning to my fingertips. I even started woodworking in Mike's garage. It's been a year now. I have my own small apartment, filled with things I like. It's a bit messy sometimes, but it's mine. I found a job I enjoy, not a high-powered career, but something that gives me satisfaction. I'm rebuilding my life, piece by piece, on my own terms. Sometimes I think about Sarah, but it's like remembering a character from a book I read a long time ago. The pain is gone, replaced by a deep sense of gratitude for the lesson she taught me. She wanted control, and in a way, she had it. She controlled my life for 10 years. But true power isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. And by walking away with just one calm goodbye, I took back all the power she ever had over me. I took back my life. And let me tell you, it feels incredible. If you're in a situation where you feel lost or controlled, remember that your peace is worth more than anything. Sometimes the quietest exit makes the